Section 1, The Shadow of Sednaya, written by Anderson Cooper. North of Damascus, Syria, lies a place synonymous with fear and suffering, Sednaya Prison. Its name, whispered in hushed tones, evokes images of unimaginable brutality and despair. For decades, this military prison has cast a long shadow over Syria, a chilling symbol of the government's iron grip on its people. It is a place where thousands have vanished, swallowed by a system designed to crush dissent and silence opposition. Section 2. A prison emerges. Sednaya Prison was constructed in the 1980s. It was initially intended to house a range of criminals, from petty thieves to political prisoners. The prison's remote location, far from prying eyes, made it an ideal location for the Syrian government to operate with impunity. As years passed, Sednaya's reputation as a place of brutal repression grew. Human rights groups documented cases of torture, disappearances, and extrajudicial killings within its walls. Section 3. Descent into horror, the Syrian civil war. The conflict that erupted in Syria in 2011 was not just a battle for political power, but a struggle that would reshape the lives of millions and leave an indelible mark on the nation's history. The outbreak of the Syrian civil war in 2011 marked a turning point for Sednaya. What began as peaceful protests quickly escalated into a full-blown civil war, with the government responding with brutal force. The prison became a central holding facility for those deemed enemies of the state. Sednaya, already notorious for its harsh conditions, transformed into a symbol of the regime's repression. Thousands of peaceful protesters, activists, journalists, and anyone suspected of opposing the government were rounded up and thrown into Sednaya's overcrowded cells. The prison's population swelled beyond its capacity, leading to unimaginable suffering. The already dire conditions within the prison deteriorated rapidly. Overcrowding led to a lack of basic necessities, and the infrastructure crumbled under the weight of the increasing number of detainees. Food, water, and medical care became scarce. The prisoners were left to fend for themselves in an environment where survival was a daily struggle. Disease spread like wildfire in the cramped and unsanitary conditions. The lack of hygiene and medical supplies turned Sednaya into a breeding ground for illness, further exacerbating the misery of those trapped within its walls. The stories that emerged from Sednaya were harrowing, painting a picture of a place where hope was all but extinguished. Former prisoners have recounted tales of torture, starvation, and inhumane treatment. These testimonies have shed light on the dark reality of life inside Sednaya, revealing the extent of the suffering endured by those who were imprisoned there. International human rights organizations have documented these abuses, calling for accountability and justice. Reports have highlighted the systematic nature of the torture and the deliberate neglect of prisoners' basic needs. The global community has responded with outrage, demanding action to address the human rights violations occurring within Sednaya. Protests and campaigns have been launched to bring attention to the plight of the prisoners and to pressure the Syrian government to change its ways. Despite the darkness, there remains a glimmer of hope. Efforts to document and expose the atrocities at Sednaya continue, and the resilience of the Syrian people serves as a testament to their enduring spirit. The journey towards justice and peace is long, but the fight for a better future persists. Section 4. Inside the Walls of Hell. Survivors of Sednaya describe a living nightmare. Upon arrival, prisoners were subjected to brutal beatings, often lasting for hours. Interrogations involved horrific torture methods designed to extract confessions or simply to inflict pain. Electric shocks, stress positions, and sexual assault were commonplace. The guards, emboldened by a culture of impunity, ruled through fear and violence. Section 5. Whispers from the Abyss. Survivor testimonies. In the heart of Sednaya, a place shrouded in darkness and despair, the walls echo with the voices of those who endured unimaginable suffering. These are their stories, their whispers from the abyss. They broke my spirit, whispers a survivor, his voice trembling, his eyes, once full of life, now reflect a deep, unending trauma. The memories of his ordeal are etched into his very being, a constant reminder of the horrors he faced. They beat me until I couldn't feel my legs. The pain was excruciating, but the emotional scars ran even deeper. Each blow was a reminder of my helplessness, my inability to escape the nightmare that had become my reality. I saw men die from starvation, from disease, from torture. The sight of emaciated bodies, the sound of their cries for help still haunt me. We were left to rot, our humanity stripped away, reduced to mere shadows of our former selves. We were less than animals to them. Treated with utter disdain, we were subjected to degrading treatment that sought to break our spirits and crush our will to live. The guards took pleasure in our suffering, their cruelty knowing no bounds. Another survivor, his body bearing the scars of his ordeal, recounts the psychological torment. The physical wounds may heal, but the mental scars remain, a constant reminder of the terror that once consumed him. The constant fear, the uncertainty, the knowledge that you could be killed at any moment. It was a slow death. Every day was a battle for survival, a test of endurance against the relentless tide of fear and despair. These testimonies, harrowing in their detail, offer a glimpse into the abyss of human cruelty that existed within Sednaya's walls. They serve as a stark reminder of the depths of human suffering and the resilience of the human spirit. The survivors' stories are a testament to their strength, their will to live, and their unyielding hope for a better future. Through their words, we bear witness to the atrocities they endured and honor their courage in sharing their painful truths. Section 6. The world takes notice. For years, the Syrian government denied the atrocities taking place within Sednaya. However, the whispers of horror eventually grew too loud to ignore. Human rights organizations, armed with satellite imagery and the testimonies of survivors, began to piece together the gruesome truth. Amnesty International, in a chilling report, described Sednaya as a human slaughterhouse. The United Nations called for an independent investigation into the crimes against humanity being committed within the prison. Section 7. Justice delayed, justice denied. Despite mounting international pressure, the Syrian government continued to operate with impunity. Efforts to bring those responsible for the atrocities at Sednaya to justice have been met with resistance and delay. The International Criminal Court remains unable to investigate the crimes in Syria due to a lack of referral from the UN Security Council. The pursuit of justice for the victims of Sednaya remains a long and arduous battle. Section 8. The walls crumble, the scars remain. In 2024, as the Syrian regime teetered on the brink of collapse, rebel forces stormed and captured Sednaya Prison. The world watched in shock as images of the prison's squalid conditions and emaciated survivors emerged. The liberation of Sednaya marked a turning point in the Syrian conflict, but the scars of the horrors inflicted within its walls run deep. Section 9. Echoes of Sednaya. This chapter delves into the harrowing history and the lingering impact of one of the most notorious prisons in the world. Sednaya Prison stands as a stark reminder of the human capacity for cruelty. Its walls have witnessed unspeakable acts of violence and oppression, serving as a grim symbol of the devastating consequences of unchecked power. The corridors of Sednaya echo with the cries of those who suffered within, a haunting testament to the brutality that took place. The barbed wire and high walls not only kept prisoners in, but also kept the world out, shrouding the atrocities in silence. The echoes of the suffering endured within its walls continue to haunt Syria and the world. The faces of those who survived tell stories of unimaginable pain and resilience. Each empty cell is a silent witness to the horrors that unfolded. As we grapple with the legacy of Sednaya, we must remember the victims, honor their resilience, and ensure their stories are not forgotten. Candlelight vigils and memorials serve as poignant reminders of the lives lost and the enduring impact on their families. The demand for justice is a powerful force driven by the memories of those who suffered. Families of victims hold pictures of their loved ones, a visual plea for accountability and recognition of the crimes committed against them. The fight for justice may be long and arduous, but it is a fight we cannot afford to lose. The determination of activists and the legal battles in courtrooms are crucial steps towards achieving justice and ensuring such atrocities are never repeated. The faces of activists, united in their cause, symbolize hope and solidarity. Their unwavering commitment to justice and human rights is a beacon of light in the darkness, reminding us all of the importance of standing together against oppression and cruelty.